Well, sometimes the Raw episodes going 3 hours is pretty cool. And you know that there's going to be filler every once in a while. Sometimes there's way too much filler, and then other times there's not enough. This was one of those nights it just felt a little long for my taste. A couple of things that I really didn't wish was on the show. So we're going to talk about last night's Raw, and we started off the show with John Cena coming to the ring. He's basically putting over the fact that the WWE Network is having a free trial for right now. You don't even have to have a credit card. But that's only until midnight. And he basically says that you might want to watch and buy the network now, after the free preview, because maybe after this Sunday at Battleground, the champ may not be here. See, I don't have to be pinned to lose, and my back is against the wall, basically is what he was saying. Roman Reigns comes out and says absolutely nothing at this point. Cena goes, Roman, we're partners tonight, but opponents this Sunday. It's every man for themselves, but we have to make it to Sunday first. Roman says, John, get to the point. Well, we get Kane and Orton out of the way, and then we can find out who's the better man. Find out just how good you really are. And Roman Reigns reiterates that statement as well. Dean Ambrose comes out to try to play Peacemaker, and he's not out in the arena. He's out on the Tron, basically in the locker room. He says, we need to stay on the same page here. This is Operation Screw the Authority. So Kane and Rollins are on opposite sides, and then Randy Orton shows up, and they beat the bejesus out of Dean Ambrose in the back. And after they've given him all they got, they've thrown him into the door, like a metal door, like over and over again. In his best Max Cady from Cape Fear, he says, is that all you got? Well, then they put the boots to him, and Kane chokeslams him on a trunk, and Seth Rollins ends up curb stomping him on a piece of elevated wood, which has wheels on the bottom of it, so I'm not exactly sure what it was, but laid him out. So a nice beating to start off the show, and putting in jeopardy the main event, which is a six-man between Cena, Reigns, and Ambrose against Rollins, Orton, and Kane. So we get that to start off the show. We get our first match. It is a non-title match. United States Champion Sheamus taking on The Miz, and The Miz gets on the mic and says he's going to put the Moneymaker on the Tron during the entire match. So the entire match, you get to stare at Mike Mizanon's face. Some people may like that, most people do not. And I'm a Miz fan. So we pick it up midway through the match, and Sheamus tosses Miz in, and Miz, of course, powders to the other side of the ring, and he goes back outside, and Sheamus grabs him in a side headlock and walks him up the steps, and he breaks the grip, and Sheamus gets posted shoulder first, and Miz knocks him off the steps. So they come back in, and he goes for a cover, but there's no count. He goes for a heel hook. He's got a cravat locked on the ankle, and basically Sheamus kicks him off. Boot in, and a boot off the ropes is caught, and Sheamus with two big right hands, and he pushes Miz back, and of course starts his flurry, which of course is the axe handle, diving shoulder in the corner, and he goes for the high running knee, and Miz ducks out of the way, and he gets tossed to the ring apron, and Miz ends up ducking his head down and catching the knee lift anyway, and then eats the clubbing blows 15 times, and he brings him back in the hard way, catches the Miz with an over-the-shoulder power slam, gets a 2 off of that. Back elbow by Miz, and Sheamus ends up clotheslining him in the back of the head, because apparently the elbow did absolutely no damage whatsoever. And Whip In charges in with a shoulder block, and of course Miz scoots out of the way, and he goes shoulder first into the ring post. This time, actually elbow first into the middle turnbuckle. So he goes up top, and he gets pulled off, and the Miz with a grounded DDT, and gets a 2 off of that, and drops the knee on the knee, and then drops the knee on the knee, setting up for the figure 4, and of course Sheamus kicks him off, and Miz charges and gets caught with the Irish Curse backbreaker 1-2 and a kick out. So, a boot to the knee by The Miz, and he goes for the skull-crushing finale. It gets countered, and he charges in with a brogue kick. Miz ducks out of the way and rolls up Sheamus with a stack roll-up, 1, 2, 3, and The Miz defeats Sheamus to win this match on Raw to kick off the show. Really good match between these two, and very enjoyable match. They will have a rematch tonight on Main Event, actually. Still no title on the line as far as I know, so yeah, that's going to be the case. They're both involved in the over-the-top rope battle royal to determine who the new Intercontinental Champion will be, but we'll talk about that later on as we progress in the show. So, of course, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and Kane just don't trust each other. And Kane and Orton argue who's going to be the champion, who's going to be the one to take the world title off John Cena, or prevent Roman Reigns from winning said world title. And Triple H shows up and is like, I trust you both. You guys need to stay on the same page and realize that the best thing for business right now is that the Authority once again has grasp of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It doesn't matter who wins. You have to trust each other tonight. We had our next match. Another short contest. Dolph Ziggler against Fandango. Chinlock, and of course, Dolph punches his way out, and a hair pull takedown sends the show off to the canvas. A chinlock again by Fandango, and a punch out again by Dolph, and ducks the right hand, and a hooking clothesline to Fandango, and the charging splash in the corner, usually the 10 punch, it actually misses, and Fandango's music hits, and here comes Summer Rae and Layla, and they are on top of the announce table, giving JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry Lawler the best view of the evening. And they are dancing, and like it's the top of a bar, and this distracts Fandango long enough. There's a drop kick by Ziggler, and Fandango ends up catching Dolph watching, and rolls up Dolph from behind, and it gets countered into the name dropper, and 1, 2, 3, Dolph Ziggler wins. After the match is over, both Summer Rae and Layla get in the ring, and they start getting all handsy with Dolph. Apparently, Dolph found his push on Planet Stasiak, because this reminds me a whole lot of the old Pretty Mean Sisters gimmick with Stasiak when he was known as Meat. I know it's not going in that direction. I know Dolph Ziggler is probably a better wrestler than Shawn Stasiak ever will hope of being, but, depending on who you ask, actually, excuse me. At least Dolph's been a world champion. Poor Stasiak. But yeah, I will say that will maybe what we're leading towards, and Dolph's going to take both women, and who knows what we're going to end with this. Fandango, of course, left without a woman, and he's by himself now, so who knows what's going to come out of this. Generally, when something like this happens, here's what I'd like to see, personally. Didn't they? Sinuses are all over the place today, I apologize. Fandango needs to bring someone else in, like a heavy hitter woman, to take care of both Summer Rae and Layla. Now, obviously, the thing that jumps to my mind is Sarah Del Rey, but I don't think that they're going to go in that direction. And I don't think anyone in NXT really fits with Fandango to continue the gimmick the way it's going, so who knows where we're going to go with this. I'm pretty sure it continues, though. We get our product placement for the day. And, of course, it is a Sonic commercial, and Damien Sandow is now a roller skating Sonic employee. Oh my god, hopefully this leads to something. And Adam Rose shows up with the Rosebuds, and that's pretty much the end of that. We get to see a Rosita sighting, that was kind of cool, and yeah, that's the end. They're both involved also in the Battle Royal to determine the new Intercontinental Champion. So the Usos come out, and they rile up the crowd like they always do, get ready to do their entrance, and they come down, presumably for a match against Ryback, because I'm sure that's usually how it goes, or a rematch with Titus O'Neil and Heath Slater, like they had on SmackDown, which I talked about yesterday. But we never found out, because Eric Rowan and Luke Harper just jumped them from behind and beat them mercifully, and Uso gets posted, and a running big boot sends the other Uso into the front row, actually. And they pick him up, the other opposite Uso, when they get back in the ring, and they T-gimmick him, and that's the end. So yeah, that's the end. So yeah, Harper and Rowan getting some heat on the Usos leading up to their 2 out of 3 Falls match, which should be really good on this Sunday's Battleground pay-per-view. We get apparently our détente, which is USA versus Russia. Of course, USA represented by Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger, and Russia represented by Lana and Rusev. So, they both have flags, leading more towards the fact that I believe they're going to have a flag match at SummerSlam. Rusev doesn't have to get pinned. Rusev can lose a flag match. All Swagger has to do is grab the flag and he can win. And Rusev doesn't lose anything because he didn't get pinned. So yeah, he still can say he's undefeated in his return. But you can't really say that because obviously he's lost plenty in NXT. And he even lost that bid in the Royal Rumble earlier in the year. But that doesn't necessarily count. Obviously, but this is the new Rusev. This is the new not Tasmaniac Rusev. And yes, since they're intent on pushing him, I would state that they're building towards that flag match at SummerSlam, and that's when Swagger goes over. Doesn't have to pin or submit Rusev, and he still can win. I think that's exactly what we're building towards. So, they have a debate, basically. It's basically what a détente is, in this case. Lana says, Mr. Coulter, you and America are one and the same. You choose violence to solve your problems. All of you are stupid, America. Wow, all of you are stupid. America is stupid. Apparently, Sarah and Disney is stupid too, because I didn't read my writing correctly. Russia is a peace and loving country. Admit all your mistakes and apologize. Zeb says, you know what? Let me say this real clear. He steps out of the podium and he says, not just no, but hell no. And Lana smiles, and of course she goes back to a snarl, like she always does, and says, you know what, Vladimir Putin could solve all the issues of America. America's crumbling, and Zeb says, that's one ugly man. We have the President of the United States, and shows a picture of Barack Obama, which gets a mixed reaction from the crowd, actually. Like him or not, real Americans respect the President of the United States. And they're like, yeah, okay, fine. Zeb wants to talk to Rusev one-on-one, so he tells Lana to step aside, and he says, when will you be a man and face Jack Swagger at Battleground? Is it yes or is it nyet? And Rusev just simply says, this is war. And of course, that's officially announced for Battleground, Jack Swagger and Rusev. And Rusev bombs out, but before he gets a chance to leave, Rusev is going to be taught 3 words and just 3 words, and the entire crowd, along with Zeb and Jack Swagger, chant, we the people. So, Lana slaps Zeb in the face, and Swagger comes in and double legs Rusev, and they start fighting, and Rusev sends Swagger into the podium, and the avalanche, and a kick is caught into the Patriot Lock. Rusev crawls and crawls and crawls, and he still has the ankle lock locked on, and he finally gets to the outside, breaking the hold, and they stand tall. So obviously we know Rusev's winning on Sunday, but it made sense to get the crowd really into it. We're in a very wrestling-heavy town in Richmond, Virginia, so yes, very WCW, very NWA town, so yeah, be interesting to see where we go with this. Really, should be a good match on Sunday, actually. So John Cena and Roman Reigns, they realize they have to trust each other. Simple as that. Plain and simple. Get our next match. It is another match between 2 superstars that are also involved in the Intercontinental Title Battle Royal. I'm sensing a pattern here. It is Alberto Del Rio and Rob Van Dam, a rematch from a couple weeks ago. And Del Rio with DDT on Van Dam gets a 2 off of that. Charges in with a step-up enziguri kick, gets a 2 off of that. Stomps away and locks on a chin lock. Van Dam has nowhere to go because Del Rio puts his knee in the lower back and pulls back on the chin lock. Van Dam elbows his way out and a hair pull takedown on RVD. Goes for the GSK. Van Dam ducks out of the way. Clothesline, duck Del Rio's clothesline, and a snap Hurricane Rana and a Savate kick. Rolling Thunder connects 1-2, and Del Rio kicks out. Straight kick to the face because you know you don't powerbomb Billy Kidman and you don't try to slam Rob Van Dam's face into the top turnbuckle. So a springboard side kick does miss, and Del Rio tries to kick Van Dam. Of course, you don't kick Van Dam either because he stepped over in the spin kick. He goes up top for the 5-star frog splash. Del Rio gets the knees up, locks on the cross arm breaker, and that's the end. So Alberto Del Rio wins in a good back and forth match with Rob Van Dam, thus proving why he won't win on Sunday. So if you believe wrestling logic, and I do, So we get our next match of the evening. It is a handicap match. It's Nikki Bella taking on the team of Cameron and Alicia Fox, setting up Cameron's match with Naomi, which is going to be the kickoff match for Battleground this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on the WWE Network, and also available on YouTube. So yeah, this match was short, not much to it at all, and the step over armbar into the rocker dropper does finish it for Alicia Fox, and that's the end. So yeah, this is building towards, this wasn't a great match at all. Orton shows up to talk to Triple H, doubts Kane, and Triple H basically says that Kane is our pawn in this, and he'll do what is best for business. And the plan is that you are the one that becomes champion, Randy, not Kane. Stick to the plan, obviously. Stardust and Goldust try to out-weird each other, and yeah, that's bizarre and odd. We get our next match. It is Cesaro without Paul Heyman, still sporting the stunning Steve Austin robe, and he faces off against Big E, which of course has Kofi Kingston in his corner. Really awesome picture that was posted by Big E on either Twitter or Instagram. I don't remember which one it was. It was Big E, it was Kofi Kingston, and it was Xavier Woods. Could you imagine if Mark Henry teamed up with the three of them and they formed a new Nation of Domination? That would be pretty awesome. Maybe, just maybe, Ron Simmons could be their mentor at ringside. So yes, I think that's a brilliant idea, and I think they need to roll with it. I think they need to go after Rusev, because obviously Rusev doesn't like people that are un-American, I guess you would say. I don't know exactly how to put that otherwise. Yeah, Rusev has beat a lot of people that were not Caucasian. We'll just go with that. But it's nice because he's feuding with Jack Swagger, who is the huge, ginormous Caucasian that he is. Very, very white man. No racism on this podcast at all. So, Cesaro and Big E will go midway through this match, and Cesaro with a chin lock. Big E elbows his way out and gets caught with a double underhook powerbomb 1-2, and Big E kicks out. Makes a cover again, only gets a 2 off of that. Swiss Sleeper's locked on, and Big E picks him up on his back and backs him in the corner. And he does it again, and he finally breaks the hold. Overhead release belly-to-belly suplex, and a charging shoulder in the corner, and a regular belly-to-belly Magnum TA style. Big splash, and he drops the straps, and of course Cesaro powders, knowing what's going to come next. He hits the neck snap on Big E, gets a steel chair, and tosses one towards Kofi. And then he grabs the chair, slides under the ring, and he's about ready to dent in the head of Big E with a chair. Kofi steals the chair. This allows for a distraction. And when Cesaro turns around, he eats the big ending 1, 2, 3. Big E's not winning on Sunday. Good back and forth match between these two. I really like these two in the ring together. I don't know what they're doing with Cesaro. I think with any luck, this is going to lead to Cesaro winning on Sunday, but who knows at this point. We get our next segment of the evening. Chris Jericho comes out, and he says, "Welcome to Raw as Jericho." He finally gets to say it. He says he's glad to be back. He runs down all his accolades, including being the first ever undisputed champion, obviously. He doesn't know why Bray's coming after him. He says, "You want to get crazy? We'll get crazy. You want to get nuts? We'll get nuts." Obviously, someone's been watching Batman and really likes Prince, and I've said that entire stint of that same bit on a video in the past. He says, "Bray may have the whole world in his hands, but I've got the whole WWE universe in mind." So Bray comes on the Titantron and says, "Why you? Do you remember what it was like to be a child, Chris? To be so free and full of energy, running through the grass, skipping stones with no worry about whatever horrors may bring? What happened? What is it that changes a man? Children have such frail little minds, and when these frail minds are struck by the cold hand of life, it makes them different." Crowd starts to chant "boring" here, which is really bizarre. "Why you? Where were you when we needed you, Chris? You said you'd always be here. You said you'd save us. I remember everything. I'm a lot of bad things to a lot of bad people, and I've been to war with some very powerful men, and along my journeys I noticed something about them. There's a constant. No matter how tough they are, no matter how tough they thought they were, no matter how much they've been through in all of their lives, they all scream. Now you. What's the matter, Chris? You afraid of the dark?" Lights go out, and Harper and Rowan are surrounding Jericho. Jericho attacks, and of course, it is enough for him to be taken down at this point. And this allows for there to be an attack, and Jericho ducks Harper's big boot and powders to the outside. Rowan and Harper stalk up the ramp, and Jericho's backing up, and you know what's going to happen. And of course, Bray Wyatt jumps him from behind and nails Sister Abigail on top of the ramp, kneels over the prone body of Chris Jericho, and says, "Follow the buzzard." So yeah, building towards what's going to happen at Battleground on Sunday. This should be a really good match between these two. They had a really good match in NXT, actually, so I'm really interested to see how this match goes. I think Jericho wins this match by some sort of a disqualification, and Bray ends up beating him at SummerSlam in some sort of a definitive finish. Or maybe perhaps Bray wins, Jericho wins at SummerSlam, and Night of Champions we get our blow-off. So yeah, Night of Champions is supposedly Jericho's last match on his run. You know, the pay-per-view's coming up on my birthday this year. So we get our next match. It is AJ Lee against Eva Marie. Less said about this, the better. Paige on commentary did a really great job, which she always does. Side backbreaker, countered into the Black Widow. That's the end. AJ sits Indian style on top of the announce table right in front of Paige, and they chat about liking each other's hair and congratulations. And she's like, "Okay, bye," and she drops the headset and bombs out. So yes, Paige and AJ is going to be an awesome match this Sunday at Battleground. Looking forward to that. Bo Dallas talks about how he beat El Torito last week, and he says whomever he faces this week, basically he's going to have the heart that size. And of course, I was like right there, I was like, it's going to be Cully, it's going to be Cully. And Seth Rickson probably had a heart attack because his favorite wrestler on the face of planet Earth, the Great Khali, comes out, and Khali faces Bo Dallas. Basically, Khali with some chops, and his very vicious overhand chops. And, of course, Bo Dallas snaps and just repeatedly chops Khali and says, "Bad Giant." And he gets tossed over the top rope to the floor. And, of course, these two are also going to be involved in the Intercontinental title Battle Royal. So the Bo Dog on the floor, and Khali can answer the 10. And Bo Dallas goes to, after his celebration victory lap, he goes to talk to Khali, calls him Big Buddy, and he gets brain chopped, and that's the end. So, yeah, that was that. Paul Heyman shows up when Triple H and Stephanie are talking about Plan B, and like, well, you know what? You might want to pay attention to Plan C, and that's something I can provide. So Ric Flair comes out because we're in Richmond, Virginia. He says Virginia's for lovers, and Renee asks him who's going to win, and Ric Flair answers John Cena, and the crowd boos. John Cena's going to be the man. Here comes Roman Reigns out, and they shake hands, and Flair leaves. That's it. That's it. Cena comes out, gives Flair the World Championship, the old WCW Championship, and just leaves. So, is that the end of the WCW title? Who knows? Probably. Maybe Cena got tired of carrying around two belts. Maybe he doesn't have to anymore. Championships, obviously, belts are there to keep up your pants. We get our main event of the evening. It is now a handicap match. John Cena and Roman Reigns against Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Kane. This match was okay for what it was. Kane with a chin lock on Reigns. We come back from our last commercial break, and Reigns punches his way out. They trade punches when they get up to his feet. Ducks the clothesline, leaping clothesline, tagging to Seth Rollins, and hot tag to Cena. Ducks the clothesline, shoulder block, proto bomb, 5-knuckle shuffle, and AA is stopped when Kane comes in, and Kane gets punched for good measure. Seth Rollins with a leaping kick on Cena, and Orton tags himself in, makes a cover 1 count only. Chin lock, and Cena breaks the grip because he's Superman after all. Standing dropkick by Cena, really nicely executed. Knocks Rollins off the ring apron, and Orton catches him with 3.0 and gets a 2 off of that. Tags into Kane, hits the Hogan leg drop, and he gets a 2 off of that. He goes for the AA on Kane. Of course, Kane falls on him because Cena, of course, collapses because we haven't seen Cena AA the Big Show and Khali before. But I guess I understand because Cena's kind of exhausted, so obviously he wasn't able to lift Kane. Okay. So, basically, tagging to Rollins, stiff kick to the ribs, gets a 2 off of that, and a chin lock into a sleeper hold on the back, and Cena flipped him off, and a savate kick to the ribs from Seth. Three Amigos is stopped, and Cena with a snap suplex of his own is the counter there, and tagging to Roman Reigns. Randy Orton tagged in. Superman to Kane when he comes in. Rollins springboards off the top for the knee strike, but he lands on his foot, and he awkwardly lands on his knee, and you could definitely tell because he grabs his knee the second he lands. So quickly Roman Reigns clotheslines him over the top rope to the floor, and out of the corner of your eye you see the referee throw up the X. and they get Rollins out of there. So yeah, this is not a very good sign at all. This was kept completely off television, and after this happened, Seth Rollins was completely out of this. I had a feeling that they were going to do a storyline where Ambrose was going to do exactly what a crazy person would do and hijack an ambulance, drive it back to the arena, and run out, make the attack on Rollins, and potentially be involved in the finish of the match. But they called an audible, it looked like, when Rollins landed on his knee. So who knows what's going to happen with this. I have no idea where we're going with this. I hope Rollins is able to compete on Sunday. I don't see a reason why not, but I don't know the severity of the injury. And it did not look like a work. And if it was a work, it wouldn't have been taken off television. So yeah, this is definitely reality, which really sucks. Because if this is the case, then you took the guy that's now the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, and now he's injured. So who knows what's going to happen? Are we scrapping the match with Ambrose on Sunday? I don't know at this point. I won't know anymore. And I can't really talk about it anymore because I don't have a WWE recap before SmackDown. So more information I'll talk about when we do the SmackDown video, which I might do early this week because the pay-per-view Sunday, and of course Monday's video will be the pay-per-view, so maybe Monday we'll talk about it, but it doesn't really make sense after the fact, so who knows. We'll see. So, of course, Orton gets hit with a Samoan drop by Roman Reigns, and Kane from behind. Charles Robinson just calls for the bell because he's lost all control. Cena low bridge, Kane goes over the top rope to the floor. Orton goes for the snake bite on Cena, and he gets back dropped over, lands on the apron. Kane accidentally hits Orton, knocks him off the apron, and then Roman Reigns accidentally hits John Cena with the spear. Kane nails Orton, and Orton with the RKO on Kane. All hell's broken loose, and Roman Reigns spears Randy Orton and celebrates as we go home. Yeah, a lot of cluster in that finish, and it definitely looked like it was not the plan for this. Let's hope something didn't drastically happen to Seth Rollins in this. I hope not, because it would really be really horrible for something to happen to Daniel Bryan, Wade Barrett, and Seth Rollins, all three that got major breaks, and then they had to get snuffed out way before they could get started. So yeah, hopefully we get some good news out of this. Wade Barrett will be on the Battleground pay-per-view to give the Intercontinental Championship, relinquish it to the winner of said Battle Royal. And I do have a list right now of the Battle Royal participants. During the entire show, they were talking about over 20 people, and it looks to me, if I counted correctly, we're at 22. So let's talk about the show. The pay-per-view kickoff match is going to be Cameron versus Naomi. Naomi will probably be on SmackDown this week, and she'll get a match in, and that'll lead to that. It could go either way. Who could win this match? Rusev and Jack Swagger. I see Rusev probably wins this easily. It'll be a fight, though. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, is it up in the air right now? Who knows? It'll be a really awesome fight if they do that, but who knows if it's up in the air or not. We'll have to see what happens with the potential knee injury to Seth Rollins. He might be okay, he might not be. I haven't been able to find any information out so far. I'm trying to find it out as we speak, but I'm not really getting very far. It sounds to me like he may actually be legitimately hurt, but we don't know any more right now, and we probably won't know for a couple days or maybe a day or so. I can't really talk about it until later, so it sounds to me, yeah, it's pretty much been broken that Rollins may have a serious knee injury after what happened, and you saw him limp away, and who knows if they're going to change the match or not, so who knows what's going to happen. Maybe two people will be taken out of the Battle Royal and be put into a singles match to help pad the card out. Who knows? So let's talk about this as well. We've got Chris Jericho and Bray Wyatt. Their first of their feud starts. They're going to have the match here. They're going to have the match at SummerSlam and the match at Night of Champions, which is going to finish it. So yeah, you have a 3-match feud between the two. Been pretty good so far. The Intercontinental Title Battle Royal, you have Cesaro, Kofi Kingston, Damian Sandow, The Great Khali, Rob Van Dam, Dolph Ziggler, Big E, Curtis Axel, Ryback, Bo Dallas, Fandango, Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, Titus O'Neil, Diego, The Miz, Zack Ryder, R-Truth, Adam Rose, Sin Cara, Xavier Woods, and Heath Slater. So who can win this thing? Sheamus can win and unify both championships. Cesaro can win. I think Fandango can win, because I'm still sticking with the fact that he could be a singles champion. It may be a stupid bet to say that, but that's what I'm going with. Dolph Ziggler could possibly win. I know it's probably the least option. They could give it to Damien Sandow after all the stuff he's been through, but I doubt it at this point. Sandow may even show up and be someone else. Who knows at this point? And I honestly think they could potentially give it to The Miz. The Miz could possibly win. And the big one is Bo Dallas. The problem is, if you give Bo Dallas the championship, he eventually is going to have to lose his undefeated streak. And I don't know what they want to do with that. They set it up perfectly for Bo Dallas to win and then face Wade Barrett, face Wade Barrett when he returns. And Barrett and Bo Dallas feud over the Intercontinental Championship to do the feud right that they did wrong back when Bo Dallas came in as a babyface when they did the Royal Rumble. And I think it was 2012. I think it was 2012. I'm not positive off the top of my head. I'm just thinking off the top. Divas Championship on the line. AJ Lee defends against Paige. Should be one of the better matches of the evening. Very excited for it. The Usos defend the WWE Tag Team Championships against Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. 2 out of 3 falls. So the Wyatt family will get a win, but not necessarily guaranteed to walk out with the championships. Maybe they win the championships at Battleground and they successfully defend at SummerSlam. Who knows at this point? And the main event, 4-way Battleground WWE Championship on the line. John Cena, Roman Reigns, Kane, and Randy Orton. And that is your card for Battleground. I will say right now, if I had to guess, that the matches of the night I would talk about. Sheamus and The Miz was pretty good. I enjoyed it. And the back and forth, the detente with Zeb Coulter and Lana. That was entertaining. Del Rio and Van Dam, they've had better matches, but it was alright. It was a decent match for what it was. Big E and Cesaro should have went a little bit longer, but I understand why it didn't. And I would definitely recommend the main event. And even though it was very clustery after Rollins got injured, so who knows what's going to happen with that. So hopefully Seth Rollins is not is not completely severely injured, so he has to vacate the briefcase or vacate the match or lose his push. I mean, hopefully none of that happens and Seth Rollins is fine, but he tweaked his knee pretty bad. So we'll get more information. I'll try to give you guys an update as much as I can. It's kind of hard when I don't really have much to do. Obviously, my Impact recap is tomorrow. So, yeah, I have nothing for Thursday right now, so we'll see what happens on Thursday. Maybe I'll give you an update on Thursday if I find out anything, stuff that happened on the SmackDown tapings. We'll talk about that. So, in the meantime, everyone, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, like our Facebook fan page, go ahead and like our Facebook fan page. Sir Owen Disney Pop on Facebook. Send me a friend request on Facebook if you'd like, it's Owen Disney. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's @Sir Owen Disney. Last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions. You want to talk about Battleground, you want to talk about WWE in general, you want to talk TNA with me, you want to talk about Disney with me, or Universal, or Halloween Horror Nights. If you want to talk and ask me questions, you can. You're more than welcome to ask me questions. I'll answer them. I won't answer them on here for good reason, but I will answer you if you ask me over an email, or if you become a popcaster yourself, or to give us ideas for verses or other segments you'd like to see, then by all means send me an email, siroandisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.